factor or internal factor that led to the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria was economic exploitation. There was open economic exploitation of Nigerians by the foreign enterprises with the connivance of the British colonial administration. Nigerians had no access to the capital markets because all their banks until 1933 were foreign, and the colonial masters were not willing to grant credit facilities to Nigeria. So the establishment of the National Bank and ACB in 1933 and 1948 respectively granted generous credit facilities to Nigerians. So another factor that led to the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria was economic exploitation. There was open economic exploitation of Nigerians by the foreign enterprises with the connivance of the British colonial administration. So in association with the British colonial administration, together they exploited the Nigerian economy. And because Nigeria did not have access to the capital markets until 1933, the foreign banks were not willing to grant credit facilities to Nigeria. It was one of the factors that helped the foreign enterprise and the British colonial administration to exploit the economy of Nigeria. And this led to the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria. So with the establishment of National Bank and the ACB in 1933 and 1948 respectively, and the fact that these banks granted generous credit facilities to Nigerians also led to the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria. Another factor that led to the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria is the effects of Western education. Western education had after the Second World War. The effects of Western education after the Second World War. The effects of Western education after the Second World War. A number of educated Africans who had the opportunity of studying in the United States of America and Britain, they came back to support and lead nationalist struggle against political independence. So those that were already educated in the United States of America and Britain, they came back to support and lead the nationalists in their struggle for political independence. These people that were educated in the United States of America and Britain, they saw that they saw the kind of life the people in USA and Britain were living, the kind of opportunities they had, and they felt, why are we still living as slaves to these people? So they also came back and they supported and led the nationalist struggle for political independence. Another internal factor that led to the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria is the activities of the student union. The formation of the West African Students' Union, WASU, in 1925 also led to the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria. So the formation of West African Students' Union in 1925 also led to the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria. Another internal factor that led to the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria is the youth movement. The formation of youth movements helped the growth and spread of nationalism in Nigeria. For example, the Lagos Youth Movement. The formation of the NCBWA, that is the National Congress of British West Africa, also led to the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria. The National Congress of British West Africa was founded in 1919 and it was led by Joseph Casley Hayford. It was established for the purpose of redressing the evils of the Crown colony system. And this was also one of the political parties that led to the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria. Another factor that led to the rise and growth, another internal factor that led to the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria is the indirect rule system. The colonial policy of indirect rule excluded the educated elite from governance. So indirect rule system, it exempted the educated people from governance. So, and this annoyed and brought about the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria, because those that were educated were angry at the fact that they were excluded from the administration. Another factor that led to the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria is the rise and growth of urban centers in Nigeria. So the development of urban centers, now we now started having places such as urban centers, Lagos, Calabar, and these other urban centers as against the rural centers. The rise and growth of urban centers in Nigeria also brought about the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria. Also, the deposition of chiefs. The colonial masters took upon themselves the appointment and the deposition of traditional rulers and chiefs in Nigeria as against what they had in line, what the traditional rules, what our traditional custom had in place for these chiefs to be appointed and disposed. The fact that these colonial masters took upon themselves the appointment and the position of traditional rulers and chiefs in Nigeria angered the nationalists, and that also led to the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria. And with this, we've come to the end of this class. In the course of this class, we looked at the internal factors that led to the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria. In the next class, we'll be looking at the external factors that led to the rise and growth of nationalism in Nigeria. And I'll see you at the next class.